Hi, it's Maurice Arenas again, and this time I'm going to talk about the left hand and how much effort you really need to use in the left hand. This is kind of addressed for beginners, but it really applies to everybody, all levels. So, the biggest thing is a lot of guitar players, regardless of level, sometimes overplay. And what do I mean by that? Sometimes they're gripping a little too hard on the fingerboard. So, how can we remedy that? Well, the remedy is we pick a note. Let's say I'm going to pick the fifth fret, and I'm just going to buzz, like mute the note and just pick up and down. I'm going to gradually put my finger depressing the string until I get the note. And that's exactly the amount of effort you need. But you have to slowly depress till you find that clear note. Once you realize that, you have to say, okay, is that the amount of effort I use when I normally play? Because if it isn't, then that means that you're overplaying, you're playing a little bit too hard. And what can that do? Well, if you tense your finger and then try to move the other ones, it's pretty hard to do. That affects your speed. And so that's the reason why we work on becoming as effortless as possible. So how do we practice that? Well, we start with this note. We depress until we get that right note. We do the same thing here with the middle finger. Do the same with the ring. And the same with the pinky. And you can see I'm not using my thumb in the back of the neck because you don't need to squeeze with your thumb. That is the other error that usually happens. If you tense your thumb, try to wiggle your fingers. It's not easy to do. If you relax your thumb, wiggle your fingers. So, a lot of students who come to me, they'll say, well, Maurice, I'm having trouble playing quickly. That's usually because they're squeezing with their thumb. So that's a little secret I want to share with you. Now, how do you use your thumb? Well, it should be a guide. It should be in line more or less with your index finger. Why? Because if you move it closer to the middle, you'll feel tension here. You'll feel tightness. So somewhere around where the index finger is, I should say. And you shouldn't be gripping with it. It should be more or less letting your hand fall into the guitar to get that note. See? You don't need to do that. So this is the reason why we're doing this exercise. This is called an awareness exercise, and you actually can do that on every string. Now, why is it good to do it on every string? Well, it's going to be less effort on some strings and more effort on others. Like the thicker strings are going to require more effort, and the thinner strings are going to require less. So it's good to be aware of that, because that's another thing you might have not noticed yet. I hope these tips help. There's more coming your way.